Hi, and welcome to Half Redheads podcast with me, Sydney.
Me, Kendra.
And me, Julie.
Welcome back if you have listened to our first episode or episodes before. But if this is your first time, hi, welcome. We love you very much.
Yes, so this is our first official episode. The last episode we did was our prologue, where we introduced ourselves and talked a little bit about what we hope this will become. We're also pre-recording all of these, kind of like in one sitting, for the first couple episodes. So you guys aren't going to see Casey yet, but hopefully, eventually, she'll be able to make it, and we will have that. I'm hyping her up and watch her never be able to.
I know. This is her
hope.
busy season.
Yes,
But,
she's very
let's
busy
hope,
right now,
let's hope,
but
let's hope.
I'm sure we'll be able to find a way. So we wanted to talk about kind of, since we're all just started our senior year, and this is our last year in high school together, hopefully. We decided to. We
We all
decided
stay
to.
back.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
We all decided to kind of think about, what have we learned throughout high school that we think is important to people who are either going into high school as freshmen, maybe transferring to a new school, or maybe just want to, reminisce on their first couple of years in high school and just be like, I remember learning that, or,
Yes.
I never thought about that. So we really wanted to talk about that, which, of course, this could mean a lot of different things. But for now, we are focusing on basically just advice I think we would all give when it came down to it. Does anybody have anything they really want to get off their chest first? Is there one main thing?
So my big piece of advice for all you freshmen out there, you 8th graders, you middle schoolers, if you're listening, is take high school as it comes. Things are going to be hard, but really take advantage of all the events. Me personally, I went to a few events freshman year, and then sophomore year I didn't really go to anything. And now that I'm a senior, I really regret it, because I didn't really go to football games. And now it's my last chance to do all that. And I really wish that I'd done that throughout the years to make more memories.
Yeah, I agree with
We
that.
can't go to a football game now because mosquitoes will kill us.
Yeah, this is
There's-
during the E epidemic, which if you don't know what that is, I guess it's a new virus.
It's not new, but it's resurging.
It's in mosquitoes and it's killing people.
It's killed two people already.
in our area, which is really scary.
That's
Yeah.
terrifying.
So
So
we're kind
we're-
of happy indoors right now.
We're missing the first home football game, but
That's also a low-key side note. Wear bug repellent when you go to football games.
oh
You will-
yes, and wear hoodies and bring blankets because
Yeah.
it gets cold.
It gets cold.
Even if it's warm, it's gonna get cold because it gets dark.
Depending on where you live, though.
That's fair.
Mhm.
But it's always fun to bring a blanket and get some stuff and cheer on your football team.
So
Mm.
here's my piece of advice for high school. And I've always been saying this, throughout all of high school, I've always, recognized this as, an important part of your high school career, is you do not need to have a significant other. If you have a boyfriend or girlfriend, great, but it's not necessary. And especially because a lot of people think that it's, a good thing to have, as a social status, I guess, to have, a boyfriend or a girlfriend. And it's really important to focus on your school and your friends rather than having, a relationship. So that's one thing that I've always thought was really important in high school. I personally have never had a boyfriend throughout high school, which I'm thankful for because I've been able to focus on my friends and do better in school, because I have a feeling that, me personally, I'm someone that, I'm really bad with time management. So if I had a boyfriend and was trying to do well in school, it just wouldn't work out. I mean, everyone's different. Obviously, if you're good in time management, then, maybe you're able to juggle that. But if you are someone that, you really want to focus on doing well in school and all that stuff, really, keep yourself in check and make sure that you don't have to focus on or depend on other people to, get through high school.
Please, please, please focus on your grades. I know that you want to do all that stuff and you want to be cool and you think that maybe it's cool to not do your homework, but it's not. Focus on your grades because they're so much more important than you know. And we're all starting our college application process right now. And, you want to get to the college of your dreams. Focus on your grades. Do extracurriculars. Join clubs. Do all that stuff. Even if you think people aren't going to think that I'm cool, it's fine. If it's what you want to do, you'll make friends in those clubs and those sports, and it will be a common interest.
And befriend your teachers. It will help you so much.
But don't suck up to your teachers, please.
Yes, don't suck up, but
Be
know,
friends
befriend your
with them.
teachers.
Be cordial.
Be kind with them, and you can get some good recommendations.
There's literally no reason to be mean to your teachers.
There is no reason to be mean to your teachers.
Unless they
And
are
all
like
it's gonna do is
the
cause you
worst.
harm.
Yeah.
But like,
if they like, even if they're like awful to you or whatever, still be cordial and then talk to another like administrator about it and be like, listen, I'm having this, or talk to your guidance counselor and be like, listen, I'm having this issue with this teacher. I don't know what to do. I don't want to be mean to them, but I can't keep, attending their class with this situation going on.
Yes.
My big piece of advice, or I guess a couple, part of it is going off of what Julie said, where you don't need a significant other during high school. You really don't.
you don't.
But don't be afraid to have one either. Don't be like, oh, like if it's like a family thing where it's like your parents don't want you to date until a certain age or whatever, respect that. But if you want a boyfriend or a girlfriend or just a partner, don't be afraid to go after it, Kendra and I have both had boyfriends during high school. She's had one and I've had like 1.5, but that's for like
That's a story for another day.
That's a story for another day. Actually, I currently have a boyfriend right now. Wow, we got to like 3 minutes into the first episode before I started talking about my boyfriend. Wow.
But don't. My big piece of advice is, in my opinion, I think that people should look for boyfriends as somebody to marry.
Yes.
That's really the point of a
I
relationship.
agree with that. 100%.
So don't date because you want the attention and I date because you really have an interest in that person and you really like them.
never date just for the title of having a boyfriend or a girlfriend.
Please don't.
And
please, it's so pointless.
The other thing is if you want to date to get married, like Kendra said, that's how we see it. We also go to a private Catholic school, so we're
ingrained in that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I look at it as, if you are in a relationship where you genuinely like the other person and the other person likes you and it's for the right reasons, date that person. If it is a healthy, happy relationship.
Yeah, might as well.
And sometimes relationships in high school don't work out. I'm not going to be the kind of person who's like, high school relationships never work out, because
they do. Some of them do.
Also, I'm in a high school relationship and I want that one to work out. So
but in terms of high school relationships that don't work, my piece of advice is, if your relationship turns sour and it turns toxic in any way and you think so, talk to people about it, because it's hard to get out of.
And if you have a friend who is in a toxic relationship, please talk to them about it. Please talk to someone about it.
Even if they get mad at you, it's worth it, because eventually they'll realize that you're only doing it out of love and you just want the best for them.
Speaking from experience,
yeah,
Sydney and I went through this.
At some point, we will have an episode dedicated more towards that, but we have gone through the experience.
Sydney and I went through this summer, and it was hard, but we got through it, and I'm a better person for it, and Sydney helped me through it, and it was hard.
Yeah, it was hard.
But if you see red flags and you talk to them about it and they don't give you the answers you want,
and if your friend is seeing red flags, pay attention to that too, because sometimes you don't even realize that your relationship is toxic until someone else is like, hey, have you been noticing this? And you're like, wait a minute, yes I have.
Listen, you may be scared that they're gonna get mad at you, and they may, but that's just probably because they don't want to come to terms with it themselves. And if you give them time, they'll realize it. You just need to address it to them, and then it'll finally come to light.
Yeah, just be patient.
The thing that I told Kendra when she was in this relationship, and this is by no means an original quote, I cannot remember where I read it, but it was something that really stuck with me, is whenever you're in a relationship and you're looking at something through rose-colored glasses, red flags just look like flags. And sometimes you have to keep that in consideration when helping a friend deal with a toxic relationship, where they don't see the red flags because they are looking at it as, this is my relationship and we used to be happy, so why aren't we still happy? We're still happy. But again, this relationship stuff is definitely for another episode. This is more of relationships are part of high school. It's part of the teenage experience.
Yes.
And so that's our advice on that. Another thing I want to give advice about in high school is earn your parents' trust.
Yes.
Please.
I agree.
Do it.
It may seem stupid, but it's so nice to have a parent's trust and be able to actually like talk to them about stuff, and in turn they will let you do more things that you want to do. For example, my boyfriend, but this is like a relative related example. My boyfriend and I are long distance, and so he came to visit for our prom, and we just hung out like the entire time. And my parents were very trusting, very, awesome about it. And it's because I had that trust built up with them. And like once you have that trust, try what you can not to lose it. Because like even if it's like, oh, I finally am alone with this person, I have my chance. Like think about it.
Take your time with things, and you don't need to rush into things, and build that bond with your parents, because it is so worth it.
It is truly so important.
And don't go sneaking off and doing all that stuff, because
it's not worth it.
I went down that hellhole, and I ended up losing my parents' trust for a little bit of time, and it's really hard to come back from that. So don't be stupid. I know that you're like, I love them and everything, and it's like you want to see them, but like what I learned is I would sneak off, and then I would get in trouble, and then my parents would be like, if you asked, we would have said yes. And it really doesn't hurt to ask.
Yeah.
And I know for me, I have a great relationship with my parents currently. I mean, me and my mom are best friends. I tell her almost everything. And it's really great to have that relationship with your parents, especially. And I've been opening up to my dad too. It's just easier to talk to my mom because like she's a woman and she can relate to a lot more things. But it is good to have that relationship with your parents, and it's just really important, especially because it's just a lot more free than you think it is. Because a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to tell my parents anything, and I'd rather just like sneak off, and it's not worth it, because once your parents lose trust in you, they will not let you do anything. And having that bond with your parents and being able to say like, oh, hey, can I go out this weekend? Oh, sure, no problem. Like, hey, can I stay out till like 1:00 tonight? Okay, fine, let's be back I'm at a reasonable time. It's just very relaxing, I guess is the word, to have that kind of relationship with your parents.
It eases. It's like a weight off your shoulders.
Yes, exactly.
And we understand there are bad parents out there, and toxic parents and abusive parents, but like in terms of just like your average parents, it's good to like be nice and good to them. And like if they tell you not to do something and you really want to do it, like listen to them, because they're doing it for your better judgment and your better good. Like if you want to have a sleepover with a bunch of boys and girls and it's a party and they say no, there's probably a good reason why they're saying no. And it's not because they don't trust you. It's more they either don't trust the other people there, or they just want to keep you safe.
Yeah.
Because bad things can happen, and they just want you safe and happy.
Parents will be another episode also, because each of us have different relationships with our parents.
We have different levels of parents.
Yes, I, for example, I think out of the three of us have the relatively most complicated relationship with my parents for a variety of reasons. Not that I don't love them, because I love them very much and I care about my parents very much. But, not all loving relationships are easy, and not all of them go without their bumps in the road. Another thing that I think I would say for high school is don't do stupid things in general. And what I mean by that is don't do things that you have that bad gut feeling about.
Exactly.
Like it's like a very cliche, don't come to peer pressure or whatever, but it's true, because a lot of times you will be very grateful for having not done that thing when afterwards you see your friends regret it, or like it's just you won't have that whole bad feeling with you if you don't do it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else. Oh, you know what? This is just a one in life, but I think it's important in high school too. If you are pursuing something that you want to be your future career, like say you want to be a writer and you start writing, or you want to be an artist and you start doing art, and you're doing all these things and making a living off of it, don't let anybody tell you that just because you don't have a degree, you're not doing that thing.
Yes.
Like, don't let anybody tell you just because you don't have a degree in writing, you're not a writer. Like, if you write fan fiction, go off.
Post
Like,
all that.
yeah.
Let me see all that good stuff.
Yeah,
I'll read it all for you.
Let me see that good fan fiction, because some of the best writers I've ever seen are fanfic writers.
And they do. They write like 36-page novels or 36-chapter
I was
novels.
going to say 36
I know.
pages.
36-chapter novels, and they're fantastic, and they're free. They're free works.
Yeah, and it's how you get practice. Like, it's just practice what you want to do. And if you don't know what you want to do, explore, experiment. Like, if you want to be a fashion designer, go, like, look up stuff online, take a class, you know.
Delve into it.
Don't be afraid to ask people to help you. For instance, I really want to learn how to sew, and I'm asking Sydney to teach me because I know that she knows how to.
Yeah.
A good way to make friendships is to learn what other people are doing and be like, hey, like, I also want to learn how to do this. Do you think you could teach me? I mean, I don't think there was a better way to, like, really bond with someone over something that you both have in common. So, I don't know.
In terms of friendships, please, I beg of you, do not form friendships for the sake of being popular.
God.
Yes.
It's not worth it. Form friendships with people you connect with, because it will be better for you in the long run, and you will connect with them more. You'll be more comfortable, and you'll actually have people to share your personal stuff with, which is always the best.
Also, side note, for everyone, the friend group you have freshman year, 99% chance not going to be the same friend group you have.
Yeah.
I think that goes for almost everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you might have individual friends from that friend group, but I don't think the entire friend group.
Yeah.
Like, I know I had friends freshman year, or I had people who I talked to freshman year that, like, I still kind of talk to, but, like, I'm not friends with them. Like, Julie and Kendra are exceptions, because I've known Kendra since we were 5 years old, and Julie's just great like that. She's a good friend.
But we have a tiny school. We have a tiny class. We only have like 126 or something.
Yes.
And freshman year, we were all like one big group. And by sophomore year, we had divided into smaller groups. And then by junior year, those had divided into even smaller groups.
And now it's even smaller. It just gets smaller and smaller.
It happens over time, because freshman year I was friends with a lot of people, and then halfway through freshman year I finally found like my clique and my groups and like all that, and I found like the group of my friends, and we stayed together all throughout high school, and that's just really good. And you really, like, if you are in that popular crowd, quote unquote popular crowd, you don't need to follow everything they're doing.
Yeah.
If you think it's a bad idea, if they're going to a party and they're going to be drinking, or they're like jeweling and they're doing all that stuff, and you think like, I don't want to do that, like that's bad, then you don't have to go to that
Please
party, and you don't have to like take a hit of that jewel. You really don't, and it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Also, side note, like, if you already do jewel, like, I'm not your mother. We're not your mothers.
We are not.
But, like, just, we ask because we care about you, listener. Please don't, like, get into that kind of stuff. At least, because it's just, like, we've been reading the news, and we're probably going to do an episode about this, genuinely, because none of us vape. None of us do the jewel.
We don't
do the jewel.
We don't.
Can you tell?
We don't drink. We don't use soul pods. We don't smoke weed.
I don't
None
even
of
know,
that.
I don't even know what a soul pod is.
It's a kind of jewel.
I didn't know what that is.
But we ask that literally just because we care about you and we care about your health, and like, I know a lot of people are like, well, it's fine, it's better than cigarettes, but it's still bad.
And it's really not going to be worth it in the long run, and all that stuff is coming out now about how it's bad for you. You shouldn't be inhaling anything that isn't oxygen.
Yeah.
And it's going to go into your lungs, and it's going to be bad.
Yeah.
So please be smart. I know that a lot of you middle schoolers, you freshmen out there, well, you're young and you're naive, and you...
I like how you say that like we aren't.
We are, but we're older now.
We're a little bit older.
Yes, I remember back when we were all middle schoolers.
But you're young and you're naive, and we're not much older than you, but, you know, you want to fit in, but I promise you, there's a better way to do it. Like, join a sport.
Okay, can I also give some advice?
Yes.
No, the whole thing about...
Julie, get out!
The whole thing about Kendra saying, like, you want to fit in, I've learned over the years that no matter what you wear, no matter what you do, what like activities you do, really the way to acquire friendships is to just be yourself, because people will be attracted to whatever your true personality is. And if you're like a chameleon and you change with whatever group you're in, that gets old eventually, and it'll tire you out for sure. Like it's definitely exhausting trying to change who you are all the time. And I've learned personally, because I used to think like, oh, if I get I don't know, these nice shoes, or if I get, whatever the trend is now, then people will start liking me. And I learned the hard way that material things will not bring people, like, will not like pull people into you. It's just not, it doesn't work like that. So the best way to get real friends and to really I don't know, to really like show who you really are, is to just be yourself. And it's really, sometimes it can be hard finding yourself. I understand that, because I've gone through the same thing. But it's really important to know like who you are, and what you stand for. And sometimes when people kind of like change your mind about things, like, don't let people like tell you how to think or what to believe. It's really important to just be yourself, and don't let other people change you.
And some more advice. If you're a freshman, and when we were all freshmen, I was scared of making friends, because we don't go to high school in the same town that we live in. Well, Julie does, but me and Sydney, we don't.
We commute.
So yeah, we didn't like follow all of our middle school friends to high school, because we all broke off into different schools. And I was nervous. I was scared. I was like, I'm not going to make friends. My advice is join a sport. And if you're not a sporty person, join a club. Julie and I met through volleyball, and we no longer play the sport, but we're still really close friends.
Yeah.
And, it really is, it's nice. Because I had never played volleyball before, and I joined it because I thought it would be a fun sport to play. And it was nice to be part of a team and to just have friends that way. And it was just a good experience that I wouldn't trade anything for the world.
Yeah. Also, finding your place in high school is really important. Like Kendra said, like, join a sport if you want to find people. But if you're not a sporty person, join a club. That club could be, almost anything. It could be, I don't know. We have a chess club that people join. We do a chess club. And people become friends there.
I'm one of the leaders of the comic book club.
I didn't know that.
I am. Yeah, you didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that. I'm in drama club, and it's really awesome being in theater, I guess. I've kind of sort of found my place there, I suppose.
Stick your neck out. If you want to join drama and you're nervous, join it anyway.
Kendra and I accidentally joined a chess club at our school.
And then we ended up loving it, even though we didn't know how to play chess.
No, but we learned how to play chess. And it's stuff like that where it's like people in high school, as awful as like people like to say high school is, a lot of people in high school are willing to help you learn things, or are willing to if they are in a club that they genuinely like, they will help you learn and like integrate into that club. I'm a part of Blue Key Club with Kendra. I don't know if Julie's in it or not.
No, I'm not.
Blue Key, which is basically our school's like student ambassadors. We both love that. It's so much fun. We love showing.
I should have joined it, but
it's so much fun. I'm also an advisory leader for what our school's quote unquote houses. They're like Hogwarts houses, except like not as magical.
I'm sure we'll explain that in another episode, because it's just a really complicated
whole thing. We'll have like a whole episode dedicated to it and just our thoughts.
But it's nice to we'll be a leader and just be kind and sweet to people.
Yeah, and you make connections through clubs, and you end up making friends. You make connections through everything in high school, I think. And
don't be afraid to be the person that starts a club too, because if your school doesn't have something that you really enjoy, or you really you're really passionate about, I can't speak. Don't be afraid to gather some people together, get a teacher, and just start up that club. You can get some people. Right now, our school doesn't have an environmental club, so I started one at the end of last year, more this year. And it's small. There's not a lot of people yet, but it's growing, and I'm really proud of myself for, taking that step forward and, saying, hey, this is a club that we don't have. Why not start one? So I just think that's really important. To if there's not a club, if you don't feel like you have a place you can fit in, start a place. Start a little your own community kind of thing. So anyway, that's what I have to say.
And I started the comic book club, kind of. I was kind of one of the starters last year. We got, like, 2 of my favorite teachers who are into that, and we started it.
Yeah, Kendra and I did, but also, like, it was not our idea.
There was a sophomore?
one of my brother's friends, I think, actually.
Yeah, he's big into comics.
We love him. He's actually great.
I want to give some big advice. If you're a senior, it's okay to be friends with freshmen, sophomores, and juniors.
Yeah.
And if you're a freshman, it's okay to be friends with sophomores, juniors, and seniors.
Dating between freshmen and seniors gets kind of dicey.
But
Yes.
So, like,
don't try too hard. Those friendships will form naturally. And to all my seniors out there, don't. It's not cool to be mean to the freshmen.
Please don't be mean
and
to the freshmen.
like, you might have common interests with them and you'll get along with them.
Yeah.
So
It's always been sad to me, like, when I see freshmen going around like, everyone's so mean to me. Like,
you're scared. You were scared and nervous too once.
Exactly.
And now they're in the same shoes you were about 4 years later. And help them. Even if you're not going to become friends with them, if you see a freshman lost in the hallway, you can just be like, hey, where are you going? And then you can either walk with them or you can, like, help them get to where they need to go.
Exactly. There's really no good reason to make fun of people that are younger than you. I mean, I understand, they're young, they're little, they may be annoying sometimes, but you don't need to, like, especially to their face. I mean, don't talk about them at all, but especially, like, don't make fun of freshmen and underclassmen to their face. I feel like that's just really like I don't know what the word is, but
insensitive.
Yeah.
They're already really soft and malleable, and they're young and they're scared. Even if they act like they're not scared, they are, because they're in a new environment. Like, me and Sydney personally, we went to a very tiny middle school / elementary school, and we didn't have the structure that high school did. So coming into that new environment was like a completely different thing.
Yeah.
And we were scared. And, they're going to be in the same boat. And that's okay, because it's understandable. If you're a freshman, it's understandable to be scared. It's understandable that you're lost and you don't really know. But, just, you're going to get through it. And it's going to be all right.
Yeah, high school really isn't that bad. And also, if you're in 8th grade and your teachers are always like, your teachers won't put up with this in high school, and high school is going to be so much worse than this. It's really not. Like, trust us. I was so scared when I was in 8th grade going to high school. I was actually terrified. Like, I didn't want to go to school because I was so scared that it was going to be really hard and that the teachers are going to be terrible. And I ended up liking high school a lot more than I liked any of my other grades. So, also, going back on the topic that we were talking about before, if you're a freshman or, an underclassman, don't try so hard to be friends with the upperclassmen just to look cool.
Because they'll notice.
Yeah. First of all, we can tell if you're
trying too hard.
Yeah. And also, it's just like annoying, Yeah. So, I mean, not to
bash on you or anything, but just let it be natural. And when your teachers and your guidance counselors and your class leaders and all that, when they tell you that high school goes by fast and you're going to think to yourself, oh, it's 4 years. 4 years is long. It's not going to go by that fast.
It really
I
does.
thought the same thing. I sat in the auditorium during freshman convocation when they inducted us into the school, and they were like, it's going to go by fast, so take advantage of it. And I thought to myself, no, it won't. It's impossible. It's 4 years.
Yep.
And now it's 2019, and we're the graduating class of 2020, and we're seniors, and it's like, where did that time go?
It's honestly baffling how fast it goes by. I mean, once you hit your senior year, you look back and you're just like, wow, honestly, where did high school go? I mean, so freshmen, Sydney's dropping stuff. So to all my 8th graders, freshmen out there, seriously, it goes by fast. Take advantage. Do clubs, meet people, just try hard, do as much work as you can. It really matters, and it's a huge part of your life. So seriously, take advantage.
And you're going to struggle a bit in freshman and sophomore year, and colleges know that.
Everyone does.
So if you are having a hard time with your grades, colleges know that. They know that freshman and sophomore year are your adjustment period, but please,
Talk to your teachers.
but junior year really, really matters. Junior year is your one shot to prove to colleges that, like, I'm a good student.
Senior year too.
And if you have a rough junior year, because I did, I had a lot of problems junior year, the first semester of your senior year is really going to count. Because that's, colleges, when you apply, will see all of your grades in the first semester of your senior year. And then if you get accepted, they will see your entire senior year. They will see the grades. And they can reject you even after you've been accepted because of your grades. So don't think like, oh, I already got accepted into my college of my dreams. I don't have to try anymore. You do.
Yeah,
you
don't slack off.
Don't slack. I know senioritis is going to hit you pretty hard.
It's definitely going to hit all of us pretty hard, too.
But it's, do your work. Please do your work. And
it's so important.
Whenever one of us starts failing, we're going to have to play this podcast back.
I know.
I'm going to tell you that school is honestly the easiest thing in the world. And I'm going to tell you the secret that I learned. Do your homework. Be respectful to your teachers. And study. In school, I promise, it's not that hard.
And school always comes first. Don't overwhelm yourself with other stuff that won't matter in the long run. School matters. It really does.
Two things I want to add on to that, because we're actually about to hit half an hour, I think, that we've been recording, which it doesn't feel like it.
I know.
No, it doesn't.
This is fun. We all really we're super pumped to this podcast.
I know.
Like, we were talking about it all day. Me and Julie were at lunch making fancy, like, notes and stuff.
Oh, I wish that I could show you my notes. They look so nice.
They're very exciting. But the things I want to say, if you are having trouble, like, if you are, working at school and you're trying really hard and you're still not getting the grade you want, talk to your guidance counselor, talk to your teachers, talk to your parents, and just be like, listen, I need help.
Don't be afraid to get help.
And listen,
it doesn't make you any less of a student. It
actually makes you a better student.
It does make you so much better.
And it makes you a better person.
Yes.
And if you're playing a sport and you're kind of having trouble with time management and prioritizing,
talk to teachers.
And you like that sport, but maybe take a break for that year and get your head in the game and get like where you need to be, because your grades come first. And they, like, your friends and your family always comes first, but like your friends, your sports, your extracurriculars, those come second, because your grades are going to be the most important thing when you're getting into that college.
Yes.
And you don't want to be the person who, when they send other colleges their applications, gets denied because you didn't try, and then you tried to save yourself but you couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Dear God, all right, this is the one I want to kind of end off on, because it's the one where if you guys take nothing else out of this podcast, out of listening to us yap at each other for about 30-something minutes, I want you guys to take care of your mental health and take care of your friends' mental health. And when I say that, I don't mean micromanage your friends, but your mental health is so important during high school. And I know that's something that's been beat into people's heads recently, but that's because it's so important. Mental health can literally, like,
almost as important as your grades.
And
no, I
think it's actually more important.
Mental health is so much more important.
I would like to say, before you start helping others,
help yourself.
Help yourself first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get yourself in the proper headspace, because you're only going to make yourself or someone else worse without meaning to, but if you are not prepared mentally to do so.
I look at it as, if I would say my biggest thing is, if you are struggling with mental health, talk to your guidance counselor, and like see if there are options to get, the help you need, because like mental health is so important, because it's like when you're sick, you should be resting. Like if you have the flu, if you have a cold, you should be resting. When your brain is not healthy, you need to take care of it to get it better.
And it's okay to take a mental health day.
Yes.
Like, I never thought that my parents would let me, but I talked to them because I have a good relationship that I formed. And I said, hey, I'm really stressed and I'm falling behind. Can I please take a day to catch up, to relax, to sleep?
It's important. It's really important.
And they let me, because they understand. And it's it's good that we live in the year that we do because it's addressed a lot more.
Yes.
Mhm.
And
I'm grateful because I remember even like when we
middle
were in middle
school,
school,
elementary
it
school,
wasn't talked about as much, and then suddenly when
it
we
was
entered high
taboo. It
school,
was shamed
Yeah.
a bit.
and as somebody who all three of us have struggled with mental health stuff
Mhm.
at some point, whether it be small or monstrous. But I, not that I want this title, but I think out of the three of us, it's safe to say I've had a very long-winded struggle. I'm not saying this to like belittle anybody else's struggle,
No.
but I'm saying this as I have a lot of experience with the mental health topic of, depression, anxiety, feeling, that there's no hope, suicidal thoughts.
And know the signs too. Know the
Yes.
signs.
Please just not necessarily take care of your friends. Well, take care of your friends, but
Yeah.
keep an eye on your friends. If you notice that something seems off, it might be the case, and if it's so, talk to them about it. And just don't be afraid to confide in friends who you can honestly trust.
But also,
Going off that topic, real quick.
Oh,
Wait,
okay,
sorry,
okay,
real quick. Seriously, be careful who you trust.
Be careful.
be careful you trust.
High school is full of snakes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm being really honest here. I only trust, a few people at our school, and like not even a few. I mean, you really have to be careful because if you can tell that someone talks bad about people, if you can tell that someone spreads things, like just by seeing their behavior, you will be able to tell if you can trust them or not. And sometimes it takes some trial and error to really learn if someone's a trustworthy person or not, because sometimes you'll tell someone something and then the next day the whole school knows about it, and then you'll know.
A big red flag tends to be when they're talking about someone bad and then they say, "Oh, well, I never talk bad about you."
Yes.
That tends to be a big red flag.
Yeah.
But another piece of advice that I could give you is know when to give people space.
Yes.
Know when to back off. That's a relationship I have with my dad. Is he knows when things are going wrong, and he will ask if I'm okay, and I will tell him, and then if I don't want to talk about it right away, he'll step back and he'll wait for me to come to him. It's best sometimes to wait for people to come to you than to force it out of someone, because then you're gonna damage that relationship.
And also keep in mind that, sorry, I keep cutting you guys off.
It's
all
okay.
good. It's all good.
But also keep
We're
in
getting
mind
used to it.
that if you can tell that something's wrong with somebody and you say, "Hey, are you okay?" and they're like, "I don't want to talk about it," it's okay to just back off. They say they don't want to talk about it. Don't keep pressuring them into telling you what it is. I mean, sometimes if something is like really wrong with someone and they're like seriously like messed up, sometimes I will be like, "Okay, just please tell me so I can help you." But if they're like doing okay and you can tell that something's a little off but they don't want to talk about it, it's okay to back off. It's really important to do that, actually, because what Kendra said.
Know when to take a step back. And just know, like, if someone says, "I don't want to talk about it right now," then they don't want to talk about it right now, and they will come to you later if they feel that they can trust you enough.
Yeah.
Because it's not right to force trust out of someone. You can't force trust. Trust is a bond that you will come with in time. Maybe you will get those kinds of bonds, but it's rare. Like halfway through your freshman year and you've got your friends. Maybe don't tell them
forever.
Don't tell them everything.
Yes. Especially like family things, personal things.
Like perhaps relationship issues you're having.
Very serious personal stuff.
Don't.
Maybe wait and see where it takes you. And if you in your heart feel that like this is a good person and you genuinely feel, but like if you've got a big group of friends, don't tell everybody.
And that this person's always talking about everybody else. Just be careful.
Assume that they might talk about what you say.
I think with that piece of advice, because all of these that we've really talked about, I think are definitely going to get their own episodes, because there's so much we can talk about. Like everything.
Yeah, every topic.
And we could talk for a very long time.
We have another hour of probably recording.
We also want to eat dinner.
Yeah. We are all hungry. Our dinner got here halfway through, which is why you might have heard slamming of my door. I apologize. We're still working on the setup.
Setup.
But so yeah, the first I guess quote unquote book of this, because we're thinking of what we're gonna do is titling our podcast episodes like chapter 1, chapter 2, and then like the title of what it's about. So we might do that. And instead of seasons, they're like books.
Yes.
Which,
And we want your feedback. So
yes, please give us
So,
feedback.
with that, I think
I think we're
we
good.
should say goodbye,
yes.
good morning, good night, wherever you are.
Wherever. You mean whenever.
no, wherever
wherever
and
you
whenever.
are in the world.
We love you.
We
Thank
love
you for listening
Thank
so
you for
much.
listening.
Shout out to everyone who listens to this podcast, honestly.
You guys are awesome.
If you feel like you need help of any sort, feel free to drop comments and we'll give you advice as we can.
We actually I might end up setting up like an Instagram for this.
That'd be kind of cool.
We could
We could
also
do it.
maybe, if we
Or
get
like
a
a
following,
Twitter
set up a
or something.
Discord server.
That's for a
Long
time.
way away.
But for now, we might set up like an Instagram or a Twitter or something. And
Yeah.
And also, like, if you have questions, hit us up.
Yeah,
Feel
seriously.
free to talk to us.
Yeah,
Seriously.
we're all
We're people too.
we're also all very lonely. I'm kidding. But yeah, so I think with that, I think we're gonna head out.
And I hope that we helped you in any way
Yes.
possible.
I hope that you enjoyed.
Yeah.
And if you didn't, critique us. Please don't be really mean.
We're fragile.
We're trying really hard.
We're sitting in a bedroom holding a microphone.
But we're sitting on my bed with like
We're sitting in a circle and we're holding a microphone and the laugh.
we're really thriving.
But like, I guess.
With that being said,
thank you for listening.
We love you.
I've been Kendra.
I'm Sydney.
and I'm Julie.
And thank you and see you next time. This has been 2.5 Redheads podcast. And thank you for listening.
Goodbye.
Bye.